introduce our special guest, Jake Areman, midfielder. Give us a wave, Jake, up there. And then also assistant coach Dave Dixon. Hey, Dave.
Hey.
And then there's Mike. Hey, Mike. How's it going? I think you're on mute.
Now I'm doing well.
Yeah, there you go. What's going on, Mike?
Dave, how are you?
Hey. How are you doing, Mike?
Good.
So today's lunch
Jake,
is presented by Chick-fil-A. Thank those guys for, helping us out when everyone's struggling a little bit. So go pick up a Chick-fil-A sandwich. I got mine. Anybody else get their Chick-fil-A sandwiches for today?
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
I'm on my way to get one now.
There you go. All right. So I think you gotta. I did the pickup order, which they have the one app, which is pretty convenient. So. Also, our chat is open, so we got Jake. You got a lot of questions, by the way. Instagram had a good one, and so, but the chat is open, so drop us a line down there if you have any questions for Mike or Dave or Jake or me. Let's see here. What else? So today, I want to. We talked about a little bit on Friday with Hugh. I think the question got asked to Hugh, what would he do if he wasn't playing or after he's done playing or whatever. So I wanted to put it out there. I think me and Mike had talked about it at one point. But if you weren't involved with soccer or you weren't a coach or whatever, what would you be doing?
I mean, I've always enjoyed working with kids. Both of my sisters, or really all of my sisters, are teachers. So it's kind of just always been in our family to educate. And obviously, I'd like to stay around the game. So I think eventually I'll transition into either training, whether that's at a more personal level, or coaching at a bigger scale. And I don't really have an age preference. I love teaching kids, and I would also love working with some older, a little bit more mature players, boys or girls, men or women. But I'm open to it. I'm not really set in stone on anything yet. Just still learning a lot, and the quarantine's given all of us some time to find some new things out about ourselves and learn some new skills. So that's been pretty cool. But just trying to make the most of the situation.
For sure. Hey, Mike, was there ever a time where you didn't think you were going to be coaching soccer or even playing soccer?
Yeah, for me, it was early. I played professionally for a little bit. And then back in those days, the professional leagues were kind of going downhill fast. It was just indoors left and so forth. So at that point, I opted for a coat and tie in the real world. Fortunately for me, I didn't survive very long. And then since I've been coaching, I feel like you started out at directing a youth club and have progressed from there. And at that point, it's worked out. I've been fairly fortunate to be able to stay in the game. So at those points, I have not had to dust off the coat and tie too much, thankfully. So.
That's good. So Dave, did you ever consider doing something else other than being involved with soccer or a different career path altogether?
Not really. I always, from a young age, knew that I wanted to coach. I didn't necessarily know that it would be soccer. I love basketball as well. And so I've always wanted to be involved in sports from that perspective. So some kind of career path in sports, I guess, outside of coaching would have been something that I would have ventured into. But no, just have always loved sports. Played everything when I was growing up, and loved the interaction with coaches, and so wanted to do that for a living.
And hey, Dave, as we're talking about local restaurants and stuff like that, I've come to understand that you're kind of a local Charlotte Guy Fieri. You like to find the dive-ins and little nooks and crannies restaurants.
Yeah,
is that right?
Yeah, everywhere. I like to do it everywhere, on road trips, everything. So
Well, how'd you get into that? You're just like, I gotta find the most unique place.
I just love eating and food, and ice cream's my big
Ice cream.
thing. So I have to find like a local creamery or something like that everywhere we go. And I don't know. I enjoy it. I mean, my dad probably he eats a ton, and he got me into finding these little kind of crazy places. And growing up in the Northeast, there's tons of them. So it's fun to kind of go to those little kind of. I'm more into like the hole in the wall places. Mike's into these like high-end cuisine type places. So we have a little bit of different taste on the different ends of the spectrum, but I really enjoy it. I think it's fun. Mike does a great job of when we get into cities, it's like he lets the guys the night we get there go out and eat on their own and just kind of enjoy it. But it's also a great experience, and so I've enjoyed that.
Mike, you have a rebuttal to that?
First, full marks to Dave because he can tell you the best ice cream shop in every city that we go to, which is a remarkable trait. And
Sounds like a new
look
series.
it up. He knows it already. So, and I don't know that I'd go that I'm high end at all of it, but I do like good food. And what Dave and I do have in common is we have that sort of down south, New Orleans, Mississippi love of food that you get from living down there. So we definitely have that. There's no question.
Hey Dave, what's the most unique place you've been to, either on a road trip or somewhere in Charlotte? Give us a good little tidbit.
Most unique place.
Yeah.
On a road trip. So well, it's maybe not necessarily unique, but it's my favorite. I'll say one of my favorites. So we go to Pittsburgh. I'm from Western Pennsylvania, so I have a bias, but towards Pittsburgh a little bit. They have a section of the city called the Strip District, and it's kind of like a Italian market, restaurants. There's different little shops you can buy anything you want down there. So there's a little place called Mancini's, and they make pepperoni rolls, and that's one of my favorites. So I will literally run from our hotel over there so I can get some pepperoni rolls, and then I get some biscotti. It's just an excellent little trip for me.
It's gotta be authentic too. You know, some guys been making that for the last 40 years. Like,
yeah, he's got to have basically a wife beater on T-shirt and dough all over him, and it's quite the experience.
All right, we had one. I think we had one question sent in to you, Dave. It was from Matt TW. He said, "My high school coach also played for Houghton and the Charlotte Eagles. Is that just a coincidence, or is there a relationship between MAI and certain colleges?"
Yeah. So Houghton, that's where I actually went to, Houghton College. So it's a tiny school in Western New York. But anyways, actually the guy who started the Charlotte Eagles, his name is Brian Davidson, and he's a Houghton grad. He also went to Houghton. And so that's kind of a little bit the connection there. He started the professional team for the Eagles.
That's cool. All right, Jake, ready to get on the hot seat with all these questions?
Let's do
it. All right. I'll start you off with an easy one. How about this? Besides the Independents, what's your favorite team?
Easily Liverpool.
Yeah. You got the tattoo, right? You have it somewhere?
You'll never walk alone tattoo on my bicep. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, it's been most of my life now. So yeah.
All right. But other than Liverpool, this could be outside of soccer. We had somebody else ask, who's your favorite pro athlete?
I mean, Leo Messi is like the big guy. I think outside of soccer, either LeBron James or Kobe. Obviously with Kobe passing, that's really sad. And he was just a really good role model, someone to look up to, and everything he stood for. I have a bunch of his books here, and same with LeBron. But I love learning about him, and hearing his stories are just really cool.
Do you like watching basketball, like college, pro?
Most sports I watch, basketball, baseball, football, hockey even. But yeah, coming from up north, I mean, I'm New York fans for mainly everything. Giants, Mets, Knicks, unfortunately. Yeah, just big sports fan.
All right. So to set the record straight, just so everyone knows, you pronounce Jake's last name Armin, like
Correct.
basically just how it looks, right? But Jason wants to know.
Unless you're Mike Jeffries, and then it's Areman.
Stuff I get away with. Yeah.
Pitched them up right here on the group chat. But Jason wants to know what's the worst pronunciation someone has ever had of your last name?
I heard in college, I heard Areman. I don't really understand how that made sense because there's no O in my last name. And I feel like Areman would be A-I-R. But hey, people have their ways, so.
I think I have to own up to this a little bit. I think I've propagated the Areman, kind of narrative.
Most people I meet have. I don't often correct them at this point because I'm kind of used to it. But yeah, for everyone wondering, it is Armin, A-R-E. You split it up, R-man. So
yeah, exactly how it looks.
Exactly.
All right, Jason also wants to know. This is like kind of a 3-part question. What's your favorite place in Charlotte to go grab a meal, and then maybe go to a late night party, and then just hang out during the day?
My favorite restaurant, I'd have to say Midwood, just because I've never really had like Southern food. And when I first came down here, my first year, and my parents were coming down, I had family and friends visiting, I would go there with them. And I mean, I like everything there. Their ribs are really good. Their salmon's good. I mean, I know that there's a couple of them, but the one in Park Road in South Park is really delicious.
The half chicken is so good.
I've had everything there at this point. So their cornbread is like the best dessert ever. Late night, I mean, I'm in South End, so I guess Slate is a fun spot to go. That whole area with Gin Mill, Brickyard, All American, like they're all fun spots. During the day, just hanging out. Pins that just opened pretty recently is pretty fun. There's, you got the bowling there, all the arcade games, skee ball, and I'm a big game junkie, so I like to play different things. And yeah, it's been a fun spot.
I still gotta go there. It's whenever everything
opens.
Yeah. All right. So I guess this was somebody you knew, but he sent you a lot of questions, and I pared him down a little bit just to give you a break. But Anthony, I don't know how to say his last name, but Anthony had a lot of questions for you. The best question he asked though was, if you were an Avenger, what would your superpower be, and what would your name be, and what would your costume look like?
Good. I think above all, I would love to be able to fly. That would be the coolest thing. A name?
Jake.
I really don't know. I don't have a name for you. What was a costume? I'd have to have a cape because my favorite superhero has got to be Superman, and Superman has the best cape. So, but I cannot think of a name on the spot. I would need some time for that.
I'll work on it. I'll do a graphic and we'll put it out later.
Perfect.
All right, let's see here. Deanna asked, what was the defining moment when you realized you wanted to become a pro player?
I mean, I knew I wanted to try and pursue it professionally when I was very young. There is a video out there of my first ever game, and my family has it somewhere, but I actually ended up scoring 4 goals in my first game, and that was like when I knew I wanted to play that sport, obviously, because if you're good at something off the bat, you want to pursue it. And I played a lot of sports growing up. I played baseball and basketball. I was too short for basketball, but I was a decent baseball player, and I had to make that choice at 12, 13, what I wanted to move forward with, and I chose soccer. So, yeah, very young. I'd say 6, 7 years old. I knew I always wanted to do that professionally.
I think I was looking through some of the archives, just going back through like the old games and stuff like that. Was your first start for the Independence it was like a nationally televised game against Cincinnati?
I think I don't think that was my first start. I want to say it was my third or fourth, but that game that's probably like my favorite like pro experience so far, just as far as atmosphere. It was a packed stadium and it was a tough game. I mean, we ended up losing, I think 2-0, but it was a really cool experience.
Yeah, I kind of remember that one, and I for some reason I knew it was like one of your early starts, and
Yeah, it was one of top. I don't want to say first three.
Yeah, and I just remember like for some reason it just sticks out that like you almost had like a really long like goal, like from like 35, 40 yards out or something like that. You just ripped it, and I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
All right, back to the questions. Here we go. What's been the biggest obstacle in turning pro, and what's the biggest difference between playing college and playing pro?
The biggest obstacle, I mean, coming out of college, I would say the actual process of like getting from point A to point B. So, there's a longer process that we have to go through where we trial and then we wait and we wait and we wait. We need to stay fit to hear back from these different teams. And luckily, Mike and at the time Joel and Troy gave me a chance, and I came into a preseason and just keeping your head down and working every day, trying to stay positive. But it's hard being in a different part of the country where you don't really know anybody and you're new to this. It's a new experience. But I think Mike, Joel, Troy, whoever else was around at that time made it much easier on me. And Bilal was a really good person to look up to at that point. He was my locker buddy, and every day he was always talking to me and helping me throughout things. And luckily I signed near the end of that preseason. What was the second part of it?
What's the biggest difference between college and pro? I guess I think playing wise, like level wise.
Just the technical quality, I would say. I think the college soccer now is more of a physical game than tactical and technical, where at this level it's I want to say more technical and tactical than physical, but it's still very physical as well. But I just think it's easier to play at this level now because you have guys who are so close in technical ability and for the most part physical ability as well.
So this was a good question on Instagram. One Augustine Ruiz asked, who's been your favorite staff member at the Independence? And for anybody who doesn't know, Augie Ruiz was our equipment manager for 2 years last year.
Yeah. That's hard. I think for the sheer entertainment has to be Joel Tyson, just purely off of his comments in practice, and he's just a very funny guy. Me and Augie got pretty close over the past 2 years though, and he was a great friend to really help out with things, and Augie was helping me with video after games and still helping me get better, as well as just being a good friend, and we would hang out a good amount. So yeah.
But he was a terrible 11v11 player.
Oh, awful. We cut him some slack.
But he was so excited every chance he got. He was so excited. That was key. He always had his boots ready. So.
All right, this was a good one. Linda says she's single now. Are you looking for love? No, I'm joking. You're not. Colin asked, have you ever had long hair? You always keep it pretty high and tight, right?
Actually, I had decently long hair when I moved to Monmouth, when I transferred for those 2 years or so. It wasn't like flowing, but it was slicked back. I used a lot of gel. The Jersey stereotype. But besides that, now I've had short hair most of my life. Maybe in 6th grade or 7th grade, I had some weird Justin Bieber flow, but I got past that.
Yeah, I think everyone mine and your age you just gotta go for that, All right, we had a question sent in for Dave. Dave, you've got some kids, right? So Jason wants to know who's doing the at-home education in your household.
Thank God their mother. So,
how's that been?
It's not been good. Let's be honest. One, because their father has zero attention span, and I would rather figure out all the other fun things to do besides their work. And my son is the same. My daughter is even worse. So when Carrie, she's still been going out to see patients. So when she's gone, I track her on the phone to see how close she's getting to home, and then we whip out the books, and try to make it look like we're getting some stuff done. But definitely mom. Yeah, math. Oh my gosh, I cannot figure out the math and how they're trying to teach them how to do it. But anyways.
Oh, that's the next follow-up question. What subject are your kids better at than you?
Well, math for sure. Because you can't really BS math, right? You can't, like, some of the other stuff you can like BS through. I can help my daughter with some of the things she's writing because I can make stuff up and tell stories. But yeah, math is difficult. And Spanish, but I'm trying to learn more Spanish, so.
So we're getting up against our 40-minute limit. So I'm going to have to pare down a couple of these, but Jason also wants to know, is United ever going to win the league title?
Yes.
When?
Very soon. Yes.
Really?
Very soon. Yes. I can feel it. I can feel it. We can't stay down for long, right? The greatest club in the world cannot stay down for long.
All right. Well, I think that's all the kind of. We had a couple more for Jake, but we'll let him slide. Oh, here, I'll get one more in for Jake. So we had a question: if you go to a steakhouse, or when you go to a steakhouse, what kind of dessert do you order?
I'm a big chocolate fan, so anything chocolate.
Chocolate cake, cheesecake, anything?
Like a chocolate brownie sundae is like the best thing for me for dessert. But there's like certain places where I'll make an exception. Cheesecake Factory's awesome cheesecake, but it's like, it's a full meal in itself. So I'll take it home with me and break it up over a couple days. But yeah, big chocolate guy.
All right, there's a lot of stuff going on in the chat over here. I didn't get to it all. I'm going to try to go back and like I'll open up questions and try to put them out on social media if I go back and look through it. But so I think we have about 5 minutes left. One that I saw was about the online store. We'll look into that. We'll try to get the online store back up. And yeah, so we got another virtual hangout this Thursday or Friday. I can't quite remember. And that is a virtual hangout presented by Smoothie King. So we're going to just all get a little afternoon break around 2:30, hang out. I think our special guest on that, Shalom, wasn't feeling well on Friday, so he's going to join us for the next one. And then we also have Dave's back on it and somebody else I'm forgetting. But anyways, I'll put that out later this week. So look for that and join us on Thursday or Friday. I want to thank Chick-fil-A for helping us out for this virtual lunch today. If you didn't get a lunch with Chick-fil-A, get a dinner with those guys. And thanks for hanging out with us. And we really appreciate the community right now. I want to thank our special guest, Jake, Areman, and Areman. There you go. See, I nailed it that time. Head coach Mike Jeffries and assistant coach Dave Dixon. And we'll see you next time. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, James.
Thanks, James. Take care.